So we're out here, and this is my summer, fall, winter kill cover crop. And you see, you'll hear a lot of a winter cover crop or summer cover crop. Basically means that you can plant something like, well, this is buckwheat. You can see it's growing really great. But you plant that during the summer, and a lot of times you'll, in a tilling system, you'll till that over. Yeah, Bridget likes the buckwheat. But or in like a winter cover crop like oats or rye, you'll let that go throughout the winter, and then you'll go ahead and you'll maybe till it in if you're in a tillage system. But we're all no-till here, which means that this buckwheat will go ahead and grow up, and so we've gotten it to the point where it's over a foot tall, 12 to 18 inches, right about where we want it, because when it gets a little taller, you start getting some seed head formation. It's probably about 2 weeks away from where we'd start getting some seeds formed. But right now, we're somewhere around maybe within the next 5 days to get a frost. And when we get a frost, this is very tender. And what's gonna happen is this buckwheat, which you can see here, will just go ahead and it will pretty much, a frost will kill it, and we'll just lay it over. So we'll come through and just pretty much, we'll take a rake, maybe a hard rake, and come through, lay it over itself, and it's not gonna come back. You're not gonna have to worry about it next year, but it is gonna add a lot of good organic material, but we're not gonna do it with a tilling. We're not gonna add it back in or rotate it back in, because one of the big reasons that we are putting this in later in the year is for weed suppression. We don't wanna open up that weed seed bank again. So what we are gonna do, and this was somewhat of virgin ground that we hadn't farmed on before or grown on before, but we had used landscape fabric that we had drilled down into and planted directly into that or transplanted. And so next year, or this fall or this winter, what we're gonna go do is, once this dies, we'll bring in mulch for our pathways, and we'll bring in some compost for our beds, and then we'll be able to just plant right into that next year, but adding that organic material without having to till it. Whereas if you grow a traditional summer cover crop or a fall or winter cover crop, what you're gonna have to do is terminate it somehow. You're gonna have to crimp it, you're gonna have to roller crimp it, you're gonna have to, if you're huge conventional ag, it would be some sort of a chemical termination. If you're a tillage farm, you would till it in to terminate it. But what we're doing here is we're utilizing it in the off season, and so we're using a summer cover crop up to the point of winter, so that we let the winter or frost go ahead and terminate that cover crop, and then we let nature do the work, and we'll just add compost, and we'll add wood chips over top, and so it'll break down naturally. It'll be great food for the worms, and it will really add to our organic material here. But and you can't really beat something like a legume here in buckwheat as a fast-growing cover crop. And so the key is you can't plant it too soon, because then you will get seed head formation, and you will have to find a way to terminate it. And you can't plant it too late, because if you only get an inch or two of buckwheat growing, you've really just paid for expensive seed to go in the ground, and all you've added is just a marginal, just a small bit of organic material. But here, you plant it with enough time to where you can get it 12 to 18 inches, 2 feet maybe, and then when that frost comes, it'll wipe it out, and you're good to go. So we really enjoy using those off-season cover crops as a way to let nature kind of take care of it, and not have to add so much manual labor there and do really any termination to those cover crops. So it's worked out good. It's beautiful too. If you just had a plot of an open plot, the soil was somewhat friable, you just run a cheap tiller, or not a tiller, you'd run a cheap seeder through there, like Earthway, and just go through and seed it out, and it looks great. You're adding a lot of organic material, and if this was in the summertime, you could harvest from this. Give it another 20, 30 days, you're gonna have dry seeds here that are ready to go. Now, we're not gonna get that because we're so close to the fall, or so close to the first frost. But what we are getting, right, is that organic material. But a lot of different options here, but we really enjoy the off-season cover cropping. And so if you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to hear them. Bridge and I are here. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in another video soon. Say bye, Bridge.
Very solid.